Electroblade. Toku for 2. Activate!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean from Toku for 2 here, and with me I have my co-host Paul. Say hello, Paul!
Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Toku for 2.
That's right, it is another episode of Toku for 2! That is the kind of energy that we need to bring to this episode, because honestly, this episode's a bit of a downer. And not the fact that it's depressing, it's just kind of depressing to watch.
We will be experimenting with a new, more upbeat version of storytelling because this episode had none.
I would like to see you try!
Man, I'll say this.
You know what? Let's fucking do it. Let's keep
going.
Doing it that way.
The best part about this episode was the ending, when we got to see our favorite
That is correct, because the end of the episode, we get to see the preview for the next episode. And who is in the preview? Spoilers, it's Kiki and Koto.
Yeah! Fanboying for the cutest Gavans.
Whoa. I'm gonna need you to stop that right now. Whoa. Do not go into the idea of looks or anything like that.
Oh no.
But back to the plot!
Back to the plot, which this one had. Maybe one. I could not really keep this episode together because it literally lost my attention span 2 minutes in.
You're having a hard time keeping up with this charade.
Yes, I am.
I will keep going for the both of us.
Okay, well.
So, for this particular episode, episode 5, the title of this episode in particular, because I could not remember in just a moment, as I tried to bring up the webpage, it is called Sword and Bullet.
Sword and Bullet. It could only mean it references
Sword and Bullet.
It could only mean it references to our two favorite characters in this series, Sesuna, Double Blade Sword, and his kind of romantically semi-involved 90s soda pop commercial girl.
Alright, I know you're having a hard time. We can put a stop to it for now.
I'm sorry. Every single time she busted out that can, I was like,
It was like, expected. After the first one, I'm like, this is going to be a character trait that we're going to see constantly throughout. And I was okay with it only because it's... when it tries to lean into specific tropes that you would normally see in an anime or something like that, I'm completely fine with. When it goes hard into being weird, I am fine with. That being said, everyone else is going to be listening to it, and they're like, oh, Sean, what did you say about the Ant episode? Well, first off, fuck me, right?
We thought we saw the lowest.
Yeah, I stand by what I said about that episode. So
we thought we saw the low end. We did not see the low end.
We did not. We have learned our lesson so far. Because, whoo-wee, man. Oh, wait, should I do it like Morty? Oh, geez, Rick. You know, it's just, yeah, this episode's not very good. I will point out that there are a couple scenes that were standout, and the very beginning of this episode was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Okay, my biggest thing is...
To be fair, though, it's literally just him walking up and holding his blades and going, hey, I'm here to arrest you. And then it cuts to the arrest. It's like, okay, he had a little bit of a Terminator vibe. It was kind of cool. And then they just cut to no action. You're like, all right, they're just moving it along for plot. That's cool. And that's when you get to meet his commanding officer. She goes by, Full Metal Ammo, right?
Full Metal, Ammo. In English, it's Full Metal Ammo. But they pronounce it Ammo because her name is Ammo. Ammo. So, but it's...
Ammo Rui.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a play on words. That her name in Japanese sounds like...
She's constantly drinking sparkling, like, fucking... Sprite-flavored sparkling water.
And like...
and every time she does she tokes up, and then she goes, ah.
And lets out some random cop zinger from like the 90s. Like,
Yep,
this drink
every
tastes as
time.
good as this arrest. Like, are you serious?
Like, victory tastes so
Yeah,
sweet.
like, are you serious?
It's like the kind of shit that you would normally see off like Kids Next Door, which was also a kids show. So we should probably lighten up just a little bit.
But still, it was. It. She was brought in as if she was like this renegade, badass cop who was like shooting people up. Literally, before we hear her name, they have a scene of her literally just shooting other people.
Yeah, they do a little montage of that as to how she came to be who she is. But is she the same person that all of us agreed were like, oh, this person's kind of a
Yeah, we all thought she was a bitch.
Got a thing for Reiji, right? She's got a little bit of a hard on for him, right?
No, yeah, the one that wanted to
her,
arrest
right?
him. Yeah, that was her.
Yeah,
that was her.
Okay, huh.
And
it's a wild departure from what we first experienced. So maybe they decided to go with a different look after hearing, the responses as to what people were saying about her. I honestly have no idea.
I think it was the fact that they were originally going to put her as an adversary so that they could do they probably wanted to originally put Reiji and Setsuna against each other as they both wanted to be the leader, the Gavan leader, but after maybe initial filming, they realized that Setsuna has no screen presence. You know it's true.
I will say that seeing him on the screen today, it brought me no joy. Except for, like I said, the very beginning, and also the ending sequence.
But see,
but even then, the ending sequence was marred by the villain, who we need to get into. So, the villain is straight up an anime villain. I don't really know how to describe it, but this guy...
It's a combination of a villain from Frieren and a villain from Moonlight Fantasy, where there was...
Okay, you're going to need to explain because I have not seen any of those.
All right, Frieren, in one of the episodes, you see that one of like the first class mages is this girl who uses magic to control her hair and use it as a weapon. And she's able to grab things, use her hair to turn into swords and stuff like that. Moonlit Fantasy, there is a ancient dragon called Lancer that after he kills people, he takes them and turns them into swords. And he has an alternate dimension where he keeps all of his collection of swords. So as soon as I saw him doing the thing where he opens up a rift and you see another dimension where he's pulling out all these swords from, I was like, I've seen this shit before from an anime. And I'm like...
Well, it's not only that, it's just the fact that he has the wild hair technique, which basically allows him to do things with his hair, but they didn't go weird enough with it. Like, I want it... Like, if they're gonna go weird with I know it's more than likely up to budget, but it's just... If you're gonna do something as weird as, like, hey, I'm gonna have my hair be a weapon, let it go all out, man. Just let it fucking fly. Let it do its thing.
You know what I mean, man? Let's do its thing.
Okay. No. See, my biggest thing...
But this guy's name is Metaloo.
My biggest thing is there is a scene where Hair Guy captures Ammo.
Metaloo.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Full Metal Ammo. And when he's walking away with her, other scenes, you see that his hair is the handcuffs. When they're walking away, her hands are just behind her back. They didn't even take the time to use the blonde strands that they were putting on things. And I'm sorry, whose hair falls out in that big of clumps while you're fighting somebody?
It's got to make you think that they filmed this on a really quick schedule. So they probably didn't even worry about anything like errors like that.
Yeah, I feel like this episode really was one of those where they they threw it in because they needed filler and a gap before going into something more. Because the ant episode, I originally thought
that's
was...
what I felt like the last episode was too, except this one felt like it even more.
But, okay, let's be honest. This episode had nothing. It had absolutely nothing that contributed to the world itself. I think the only thing that we get that contributes to the larger world is the explanation of her background and why she got that name, and that we saw that Kiki and Koto are working on perfecting how to go from dimension to dimension.
There's one other thing that you forgot.
Oh, what was it?
So let's talk about where we are at the plot. Plot. There we go. Words. So
words have meaning.
They arrest all these different guys who are doing like this Emor gear bust, but they're like the nega versions. So they're arresting all these different gang members, and as they're being watched by a guy who's hiding behind a bush, the hair guy, Metalu. So then it cuts over to Reiji, and Reiji is on the space station, and he is stacking, like he's carrying all this stacked stuff, like all this paper and everything else that he had to carry because, his department is the paper pushing department, just documentation. Yeah. So who does he run into in the hallway? And this is actually important.
Oh.
Who does he run into in the hallway?
He runs into the mascot thing and hit the detective's partner. And yeah, I did rewind it twice. So we're going to
go by their combined duo name of Wani Pat. Okay,
yeah.
Right?
I did notice that the robot knows that Reiji is Gavan.
Yes.
But he can't...
And that's what leads into the next explanation right after that.
And
you notice how when he said something, I can't believe this guy's Gavan, blah, 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 blah. And then the other guy's like, huh? What are you talking about? And he goes like, oh, nothing. Let's go get something to eat.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah,
So from there, Reiji walks into the office, and he's talking with Rikia and Agi, and they mention how everyone who has the most amount of power needs to be the least susceptible regarding it. Basically meaning that if you're hiding something as big as being as Gavan, you need to be seen in plain sight doing something despicable or like bottom tier.
Yeah, you need to be seen as doing something that isn't as amazing as your heroic. Yeah, as your position, as your actual position.
So it's a good cover, which makes sense. And knowing that everybody else doesn't realize that he's Gavan, except people who are fully ingrained into the bureaucracy of all. That actually is kind of cool knowing that. Yeah. So I will give this episode 1+ for that. Everything else after this, though, do not give a shit.
I will. Okay, that doesn't do as much to me as we got in the last episode when Aji literally breaks down what emo gears were and how the system works. True. Yeah. Like
it was a very, 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 very little piece of lore.
It was
for this episode.
It's like
little.
It was literally an Easter egg that you could have already picked up from subtext throughout like the other episodes we've been watching. That the reason he has that position is they want to keep him in the police force, but they don't want everyone to know that he is Gavan, which is fine, but but there's a lot that goes into it.
So in between all that,
this was just fun.
So like as soon as we see all that, we see Setsuna, and we find out that his partner has been kidnapped by the hair guy, which we just went into detail about why we thought that looked weird. And then it cuts back to Reiji on the space station, like, hey, there's some Emor gear stuff going on over here on this planet. Oh, that's Setsuna's planet. That's cool. Well, I'm ready to go. And they go. They didn't even do like the cool, ship transfer thing that they normally do.
They did.
Like, well, that's kind of a letdown.
They didn't do any modifications.
They didn't do the full tether or anything like that. They just kind of flashed it, and then they were there.
Well,
I was actually kind of disappointed because that's like my favorite thing to see in the show.
I think no, they didn't do the entire outfitting the ship, like setting it up. They just showed you it already in air.
Oh, they didn't even show the full tether, dude. Like, you know, where he latches onto the planet and then does the giant pull?
I thought they did. I could have swore they did
that.
Whatever. This episode really didn't have a lot of anything.
It does not have a lot going for it. So he ends up on that Earth and he meets Setsuna and goes like, "Hey, what you standing around here for?" And you see Setsuna, he's just staring off in the field being sad boy. And then you see all these other agents that they're standing, well, they're standing, but they're like all like hovering on the ground because they're all like doubling over and shit. And it's because they all just got their asses beat, trying to take on the hair guy. And he goes like, "Well, alrighty then. So what are we gonna do?" "Well, I've been told that I can't go save her because they're gonna have someone else go in. Basically, the FBI. I'm useless here. I must go now. My planet doesn't need me."
I must obey my orders. I'm like, dude, you're a Gavan. You do what you fucking want. Like,
I'm sure, like, maybe by the midpoint of the show, like, the actual, like, halfway through the season, he'll actually gain more sentience to the point where he displays emotion. Because the whole point of this episode is that Setsuna decides that he needs to defy orders in order to save his partner, who he has a great fondness for, but he still believes that he doesn't have any emotion. But the problem is, as a Gavan, he is required to have emotion in order to use his Emor gear properly.
Yeah.
So he has emotion, and it's sadness.
Yeah, but I think it's more denial. He refuses to acknowledge himself or
that
his...
he may actually be becoming human.
Yeah. It's very... Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in future episodes he winds up having a single strand of hair that is dyed a different color. Most likely hot neon pink.
But I don't want to see that.
He is literally emo boy, but emo boy...
Emo boy butt. Oh shit. We're gonna name this episode that. Emo boy butt.
He's like... It's... I don't know how to say... It's like an emo boy being played by an emo boy who doesn't want to be there. That is literally how he acts.
I don't want to agree with you yet because we obviously have only seen him on screen 3 times. You mean maybe 2.5 if you want to count the first episode, or barely count the first episode. I don't know.
If you don't count the first episode,
like
he's been on screen 2 times.
Yeah. Okay. So with him, I don't think he's doing it badly. I think he's doing exactly what the direction is telling him to do. So again, I can't blame him for that. I can blame the way that the direction is going for him. Yeah. But again, we are only 5 episodes in. I want to see him grow as a character, but seeing him, like, think of it in terms of, like, let's do a video game for an instance. Dot Hack GU.
Ooh.
You know how insufferable Haseo was from the very first game?
He's always
literally until, like, maybe the last game?
No, he is literally insufferable from, like, the get-go. There is no reason a dude should be that angry all the time when you're playing a game.
It's not just that he was angry. It's the fact that he was just an asshole, and he was insufferable, and you could not, as a viewer, a participant of the game, enjoy his character because all the time that you get with him, and you don't see any growth until maybe the second half of the second game, or maybe the third game.
No, that's true.
So with this, I want to apply the same thing, but we've only got 5 episodes in, so I can't really say that he's going to
get better,
not change. I just want to, I personally want to see him get better, but I don't see that happening anytime soon because I know how shows work. Unless it's something where you get like an hour-long episode each week, you're not going to see him grow that much. You're going to see him do little by little with his own, standalone episodes until we get to like the big point where everybody finally gets together, which is probably going to be mid-season. Now, that being said,
more episodes.
I did watch the first 10 episodes of King Oger. King Oger, everybody was everywhere all the time. Like even if they focused on specific regions or just like specific characters, everyone was everywhere and was always seen pretty much everywhere together. So,
Oh my goodness.
and by episode 10, they all grouped up finally because they were like, you know what? I think I finally understand the reasoning for doing this, and it was cool and it was earned. I don't know how we're gonna get there with this, and it's not because it's not being predictable. It's because
It is, but at the same
I'm not
time,
sure
it's
if
not.
I want to see, something happen in such a long time. I want to see it actually happen a lot sooner because the episode itself was boring as fuck.
Yeah. Like, I think the problem is that we already have our favorite characters, and he's not one, but he's being treated as, like, he's being treated as if he is he is, like, going to be, like, your favorite character, while he's not. And his stories aren't
Right.
involved enough for you to really care. Like, they are involved, but at the same time, he doesn't seem too attached to the situation. It always seems like it's something that is happening around him, and he's only dealing with it because it's happening around him. Not that he actually wants to
I can
deal
see
with
that.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all for him actually having some character growth and changing as a character and growing and basically being like, oh, I know who I am, and I've seen all these things.
Well, let's jump ahead a second here. So, like, when we get to the ending where you actually see Kiki and Koto, but right after the credits, you see the preview for their next episode, and it's about them, like you mentioned earlier, wanting to explore other universes, and you can see growth from them. And the only thing that I can gather is like, yeah, you got our Reiji who wants to do and be the best that he can absolutely be. You got Kiki and Kodo. They want to do what they can because not only do they find it fun, but they're intellectually curious. So it's like, okay, awesome.
Okay.
But then you got Sad Boy Bot, which I get. He is a robot.
But he feels
I don't know, I just
stagnant.
feel like that him just being, sullen and sad and not wanting to do anything beyond his job is just like, I don't know.
No, I think I know what you mean. It feels like they are still doing things in the world while Cessna is stagnant. He is literally set in his path, and he isn't going to make any detours to be more than what he is, while everyone else
Right, and
is doing
like
things.
I said, I feel like he's gonna get there. It's just I don't like not seeing him try to pursue that idea of getting there sooner. You know what I mean?
Or showing that he has any interest in doing it, because it really does feel like
Exactly,
he
yeah.
doesn't care. Like, he's just like, oh,
Like even
yeah.
his whole thing of where he's defying the bosses to, oh, okay. Before we get into that, well, no, let's get into that and then get back to the plot. So even with him wanting to defy the bosses in order to go and save Ammo, like that's a step, but it's not like a big step. It was just because it was
something he
just
wanted
part
to
of the
do.
plot. It wasn't really much else going on there. But going back to the plot, so we see Reiji. He comes back up to his ship, and he decides that he wants to snoop on Setsuna and where he's stationed and see what's going on with any kind of orders for rescuing her. And all the people who are either her subordinates or friendly not friendly, just coworkers, they all hate her guts. Like they are piss ants, man. They are awful.
They all think that.
And so they had like
something.
no reason to want to save her, which that goes to show you the bosses only basically said don't save her because we don't give a shit about her. Yet she's the one who's actually being a badass on her end. So that kind of sucks because thinking of it as like it's a woman in power, and what do they want to see less of? Women in power. Which that's a message that I get they were trying to convey, that most people are shitty.
Yeah.
And that women should be able to absolutely do what they need to. And perfectly, I agree with that, but god damn, it hits hard when you see some shit like that. Like, I know people like that in real life. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So that's when Reiji, ends up meeting up with Setsuna in secret and says, hey, so I'm going to give you this blade. That way you can go ahead and try to cut down, somebody who's going to be wanting to take your blades. Because that's the whole reason fucking hair guy decides that he wants to kidnap Ammo, is because he wants the Gavarian blades that Bushido has.
Yeah.
So he gives them to him, and then Reiji, secretly gives Setsuna the third blade, ends up cutting hair or whatever. It's so fucking stupid. Yeah. God damn this barbershop episode.
This episode should have been on the cutting room floor.
Literally, with all the things that they cut. Oh my god. Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. It was... This episode had a lot of little things in it. In retrospect,
not a lot. It only had a few. Only a few.
Yeah, but okay, I'm gonna say this.
Like, to me, this is a D tier episode. Oh, this is straight up D tier.
I was gonna say F. I would not watch this episode ever again.
We're gonna have to fight on that one. But I won't rank it then. But to me, this is a D tier only because of the little bits of like lore that we got. Like, it's not unwatchable, but it's damn near close.
I will say this episode did better than the last episode with let me explain. Let me say where I'm going with this. This episode did a lot better than the last episode in the entire Aji and Chief dynamic. It did not come off that creepy in this episode. That was the only time. That's the only positive thing I can say. Like,
they only had really like one interaction this time as well, and it was just something about her saying, "That's the way you made me."
Yeah,
and then she just talks to Reiji the entire time. It's like, okay,
yeah, but like, cool. It wasn't as creepy as the last episode. Like, the last episode was really creepy. This episode, it was fine, but like, it was just normal interactions this time. It's like, okay, yeah.
It's like they're listening to us. They're like, oh shit, maybe we should tone this down.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we should tone down like the sexual innuendo between
Let's listen to the two guys on a tokusatsu podcast that don't take things seriously, but a little too seriously. So they end up having a fight with the hair guy and his
monster
Nega henchman.
Yeah,
and the monster. The monster. Okay, so it's like I noted last time. Whenever they show up the Amons, when when it is in its base form, it does change the look of its hands or its claws, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it changes
with
it
each iteration.
Yeah, it changes it to what their owner is more like. So the last episode was boxing gloves. This one was pincers.
Claws.
It looked like pincers, yeah. Like, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was pincers, yeah.
Like, but that was the only difference. I was literally looking to see a difference, but
Oh, yeah. As far as I can tell, you're not going to see a change from them unless they turn into, like, the giant mutated versions.
Yeah. But I do think this is it's a good, honestly, I think it's good so far. Like, it is something that is simple.
You mean the monster itself?
I mean, how they are making the monster unique to the... slightly modifying it depending on the person who's controlling it. It makes it...
Well, it's cool plot-wise that way, but you know what it's going to do? It just makes it for... excuse me.
Yeah.
It makes it for a toy to be fully customizable.
That is true. And it also makes it a lot cheaper to have the monster in every episode.
Be the same thing and only just focus on the hands.
Yeah, like it cuts down the budget. Sense. It cuts down on the budget and allows you to put it towards something else, which is fair.
And you could definitely tell budget was cut down on this episode because there were no Zords in this one, which is wild.
No, yeah, it's not. I noticed that, but at the same time, it wasn't that bad. We haven't seen Setsuna have any luck with vehicles lately. Or ever. Like, the only time we saw him in a car, it got wrecked. and abducted, and he got his ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So, by a guy in handcuffs. So I'm like,
All right, I'll give you that.
So I don't think we'll see
so
one.
they end up beating Metaloo with
Damn.
Setsuna uses a secret technique called the dual ice moon disc slash, which that just screamed anime to me just watching that. Reiji ends up destroying the Emons with the Gavarian saber. They basically both take them all down. They take out Maku's space with an emotional burst, and that pretty much sums that up. So, like, at the very end of it all, they're arresting Metaloo and his gang, and Amo is like, hey, so, about you being another Gavan, after she drinks her cold, brisk Sprite.
and delivers her
that's pretty
one-liner.
much the end of that. It's like it was almost like a nothing burger episode. And after the credits happen, we get to see Kiki and Kodo, and they're like we mentioned earlier, they're like using this telescope data in order to try and figure out how to go through all the different Cosmo layers in order to explore the different universes. And then they get hungry. That's the end of the episode.
Yep.
Like it's it had some things that were, I wouldn't say worth watching, but just some things that were neat. But
I
all
kind
around
of just
this
wanted to
episode
watch the Kiki and Koto part over and over and over again.
Yeah, like we can already tell that those are the best characters so far that they've introduced. Like I don't really care for anybody else at the moment.
Like Reiji, he's a great main character. He is literally a great main character. It's just he's not like he's our Red Ranger, who we all like the Red Ranger. Like the Red Ranger is always going to be cool, but you always have
until he grows up to be a douchebag in real life.
Oh yeah, but there's always gonna be but there's always gonna be like that one that is more fun, more expressive, more everything. Like there was literally everyone liked Jason originally, but you always thought Zach was the cool one. He had the capoeira moves, he break danced, and then when Tommy came on screen, it was like, yeah, I don't know why the Red Ranger is the leader anymore, but when you have Tommy there, like he literally just beat the living shit out of all of them, and he wasn't really trying. But
exactly, yeah.
It's just Reiji is a good primary character. The secondary characters are fleshing him out, and Kiki and Koto, their chemistry when they are on screen is so impactful and so like clear, and you want to see more. That when they're on screen, you feel the joy. You feel like, oh yes, I want to keep watching. This is so much fun. They are having fun on screen. They are having fun together.
That's also her Emor gear. It's
joy.
joy.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like they make you want to watch. They make you want to watch them, while Setsuna doesn't. It's just like.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So no worries on that.
Yeah, like I will say he did have. Okay, I know you said like when he walked out and was holding the two blades at the very beginning, that was like you thought that was really cool. Honestly, I thought that was literally a budget version of Anakin walking up the Jedi Temple stairs with the 501st behind him.
It was very Terminator-like.
I was like, I'm like looking at it, but at the same time, I'm like, he's monologuing over it, and I'm like, I don't like hearing your voice. Like the suit.
I don't like hearing your voice.
Like, I know it sounds bad, but he's not that. Like, honestly, I rather have the ant. I would have rather had the ant doing it.
Not gonna lie, me too. Me too.
But
I think we should end the episode here, only because I want to save the rest of our ratings for when we get somebody else to come on with us. But I can definitely tell you, both of us do agree on this. This is going to be one of our lower ones that we've rated.
Oh yeah.
And if Will tries to fight me, or if Christian tries to fight me, there's going to be some hell to pay.
Isn't that right, Paul?
Damn right! We're going...
Damn right, damn right, damn right! Anyways, that has been another episode of Toku for Two. Paul, give us the closer.
Electroplate activated.
God damn it, Paul. God damn it. Toku for Two has been activated. Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all. Yeah. This episode was so